will I fathom or comprehend the sly you give? Tell me, where do I begin? Oh, hey, look at my hands up. Kimake bi cherubim, tabi seraphim. Lord, Lord, Timo, Wayo, you want him fisher, Shobora. Your mercy, your goodness, in my finger, and I feel it. Oh, I see it. Gratitude to say. I saw it, everything in me. I say, show, Jesus. With everything in me, I say, show, Jesus. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to all I see, all over.
Hello, and you're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome and family radio. It's so great to be connecting with you out there, all our listeners across the length and breadth, of course, of the entire world. And of course, if this is your first time listening at this time on a Sunday afternoon, especially glad that you're here, that you're listening. This is the very first episode of Character Matters for Nation Building from Nurture Nest. And it's a program that's created for homes, for schools, for young people, parents, anyone who believes that our society, communities, and indeed our nation can be better. And that's starting from us, starting from me, and starting from you. So you're very much welcome. This is Character Matters for Nation Building. And I am going to be your guide, Toyin Ogedengbe from Nurture Nest. Good afternoon and welcome again.
Jesus, cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. And every time I look from up in the middle, every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. And this your faithfulness show.
All right, so you're welcome again. Perhaps you're just tuning in. I know the word is out there. And this is Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio. I am your guide, Toyin Ogedengbe. And for those who are just joining us, this is Character Matters for Nation Building. Okay, so if you're looking at that in two dimensions, you'll be looking at, matters that are related to character for building the nation, or that indeed character actually matters. It is the bedrock for building a wholesome nation. Okay, and so our mantra is quite simple but powerful: building lives by our values, building values and shaping lives, building values and shaping lives. And like I said earlier, character is the bedrock of nation building. Stay with me.
Yes, with everything in me, I say, show, yes, yes. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, All I see all over me is your faithfulness.
And so you're welcome back because it's the very first edition of this radio show. We have strong belief in the God who is the author and the finisher of our faith. He's the one who is Alpha, He is Omega. He is the one who gives inspiration for living. And so we're starting His name, asking Him to take preeminence because He's wisdom Himself, and He's the one who gives us wisdom to be able to do whatever it is that He has called us to be and to do. And of course, with regards to building our nation, Nigeria, we know that we need Him all the way. And so we begin in His name and we ask Him to take preeminence, that this will reach to the ends of the earth, giving instructions, giving guidance, and helping us to be able to build a wholesome nation through good character in the name of Jesus. You're welcome once again.
Your faithfulness.
All right, because we know that Wells Radio is well listened to across the states of Oyo and, of course, all over the world. We also are looking forward to ensuring that the native speakers of Yoruba language and others who will be able to flow with Pidgin will also be able to benefit from what we have packed, on this radio show. And so we will be interjecting once in a while with Yoruba. So mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo àwa olùgbọ́ èmi ni arábìnrin Olúwatóyìn Ogedengbe. Ètò tí a dẹ̀ gbé kalẹ̀ yìí tí a pè ní Character Matters for Nation Building, pé ìwà ó ṣe pàtàkì, ó ṣe gbọ̀ngbọ̀n láti lè kọ́ orílẹ̀-èdè èyí tí yóò mú orílẹ̀-èdè láti lè máa ṣe dáradára. Ní ọjọ́jọ́ Sunday aago 3 sí aago 4 gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ yìí ní ìkànnì tí a wà ìyẹn Wells Radio 89.3 FM. I know that we are all set. We're wondering what's this all about. But I want you to understand that at the end of the program, I trust that you will walk away with one clear thought that can help you to live and to lead better. And I must say also that the program is not some kind of lecture. We're going to be doing this together. We're bringing ourselves to that point where we're reminding ourselves, actually, because a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about are not strange to us, or we're not strangers to the matters that we will be bringing up, but we need to remind ourselves about these matters so that we can be well guided and we can begin to take necessary steps that can help us to build a great nation, or rebuild as the case may be.
Look, will I fathom or comprehend this law you give? Tell me, where do I begin? Oh, hey, look at my hands up. Kimake bi cherubim, tabi seraphim, alone.
All right, you're welcome back. As you listening today, take a moment and ask yourself one question. What kind of person am I becoming? You may want to share your thoughts with us later. I'm sure we have details of the social media handles, and we have a session where you can also phone in and express your thoughts. But we want to begin on this note where we're looking inwards. We're looking inwards. We all need to look inwards, and we need to begin to ask ourselves some salient questions that define who we are. Because if we do not go back to asking ourselves some questions, then we may not be able to get on the track to building a great nation again.
Lord, Lord, Timo, why you want to fish, your mercy, your goodness, in my finger, and I feel it. Oh, I see it. Gratitude, this is. I saw it, everything in me. I say, show.
All right, just like we know, it's the beginning of a new year, 2026. We are grateful to God for life, for preserving our lives in good health, in sound mind, and in joy. And as you know, we are, people of faith. Yes, the version may be different for some people, but we have in us as a people, as Nigerians, people who are very religious, see this as a new beginning. And as you can tell or may tell, a lot of religious establishments, organizations are having times of prayers and fastings, and some are having conferences trying to set the tone and the pace for the year. But we ask ourselves, at the end of the prayers, at the end of the fastings, what comes out of us as a people? Perhaps you need to personalize that. What comes out of me as an individual after all the praying and all the fasting? What exactly will all of those do for me? What exactly will those actions and exercises of faith, what would they translate to as it relates to my character, as it relates to who I am? So I ask you, who are you?
With everything in me, I say, cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. Every time I look up, down, middle, every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your faithfulness, is your faithfulness.
Fún gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń gbọ́ wa tó jẹ́ wípé èdè wa, èdè tíantíà ní Yorùbá ni a fẹ́ láti gbọ́. Ohun tí à ń gbé yẹ̀wò lórí ètò yìí, òun náà ni ìwà lẹwà, ìwà lẹ̀ṣọ́ ọmọ ènìyàn. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìwà tó ṣe kókó fún wa nínú ẹbí, ó ṣe kókó fún wa ní àwùjọ, ó ṣe kókó fún wa ní orílẹ̀-èdè. Gbogbo nǹkan tí à ń rí tí kò múnú wa dùn, ibì kan náà ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ o. Ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ohun tí à ń gbèrò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan tó sọ wá di bí a ti rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀dá. Kí ni ìwà tí mò ń wù? Ta ni mí gan-an? Òun là ń bára wa sọ lórí ètò yìí o.
Oh, I know. I still cannot fathom or comprehend this love you give. Tell me, where do I begin? Tell me, where do I begin? Look at my hands up, keep my Malake be cherubim, tabi seraphim. Money low, low, timo wayo, you want more fisher.
All right, welcome back. Character isn't just a definition. Oh, if I ask, I'm sure I'll be getting 1,001 responses. I'm going to be having different people defining character in different ways. But character, it is a foundation. It is a foundation. Or sometimes people tend to confuse it with personality, but they're quite different. They're quite different. And on this program, just like I hinted, we're going to be looking at what this really is and how you and I can begin to look inwards to understand what it really means. Because if we do not understand what it means, then we may not be able to give the necessary attention. Because some people say, oh, character, that's who I am. Oh, that's my personality. That's how I was created. That's who we are in our family. But is that what it really is? Character is a foundation.
Your mercy, your goodness, in my finger and I feel it. Oh, I see it. Gratitude is it. I saw it, everything in me. I say, show, Jesus, Jesus. With everything in me, I say, show.
Ìwà lẹ̀ṣọ́, ìwà ọmọlúàbí, ìwà. And then we say character. So maybe we want to break it down and then we can look at, some areas. We can look at the core definition and looking at character as, who you are when no one is watching. Ẹni tí mo jẹ́ nígbà tí kò sí ẹnì kankan láyìíká àbí láyìídá mi tó ń wò mí tó jẹ́ pé mi nìkan ni mo wà ń bẹ̀, bóyá nínú ilé ni o, nínú kọ̀rọ̀ yàrá ni o, nínú ilé ìdáná ni o, ní ilé iṣẹ́ ni o, ṣùgbọ́n mi nìkan mo wà ń bẹ̀. Ta ni mí ní irú àsìkò bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when no one is watching?
Show, Jesus, Jesus. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. And every time I look from up in the middle, every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your.
So character is who you truly are, not who you claim to be, not who people see on social media, not who you try to impress, but character is who you are, and it shows up. Like I said earlier, when nobody's watching, when no one is clapping, when nobody will know. And in our local language, like you say, character, now your true color.
Faithfulness, and this your faithfulness, show, Jesus, yes. With everything in me, I say, show, Jesus, yes. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness.
So character versus personality. It's important that we distinguish between the two. Personality is that which you see on the outside. You meet a person for the very first time, they're warm or they're reserved and all of those. you can typically, say, oh, this is who they are. It could be the charm, it could be the sense of humor, or whether the person, like I said, is introverted or extroverted. It's often born with you. That's personality. I need to understand that character is more on the inside. It begins from the inside, and of course, it will eventually impact on your personality. It's who you are. I mean, I can't overestimate that. It's your integrity, it's your honesty, it's your sense of justice, and it is built over time. Character is built over time. Character is built over time by our choices, built over time by our decisions, built over time by our association. Character.
Your faithfulness. Look, will I fathom or comprehend this love you give? Tell me, where do I begin? Oh,
Ìwà lẹwà, ìwà lẹ̀ṣọ́ ọmọ ènìyàn. Èèyàn lè lówó, èèyàn lè lọ́lá, ṣùgbọ́n tí kò bá ní ìwà, ó sọ ohun gbogbo nù. Ìwà lẹwà, ìwà lẹ̀ṣọ́ ọmọ ènìyàn. Èèyàn lè kàwé, èèyàn lè ní ọrọ̀, kó tiẹ̀ ní connections, kó ní àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ púpọ̀, ṣùgbọ́n tí kò bá ní ìwà rere, ohun gbogbo wá ṣe kíni o, kò já mọ́ nǹkan kan. Ó ṣe pàtàkì fún wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ènìyàn àti gẹ́gẹ́ bí oníkálukú wa lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní wo ìwà wa, ká lè ṣe àtúnṣe níbi tó bá yẹ ká ṣe àtúnṣe. Nítorí pé a fẹ́ kí orílẹ̀‐èdè wa yìí kó dára, ṣùgbọ́n kò kàn lè dára nípa pé a kàn ń rò ó gẹ́gẹ́ bí èròǹgbà àbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ohun tó ń wù wá lọ́kàn láti ṣe. Gbogbo wa la ní ojúṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí oníkálukú nínú àwùjọ, nínú ẹbí ló dẹ̀ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Àwọn òbí sí àwọn ọmọ, àwọn ọmọ sí àwọn òbí, àwọn alábàágbé wa ní àdúgbò, àwọn ojúlùmọ̀ wa, àwọn tí a jọ ń ṣiṣẹ́ pọ̀ ní àwùjọ. Báwo ni a ṣe ń hùwà pẹ̀lú wọn? Ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ohun tí a kọ́. A máa ń kọ́ ni, a máa ń kọ́ ni, a máa ń kọ́ ni. Ìwà lẹwà.
hey, look at my hands up. Kimake bi cherubim, tabi seraphim. Lord, 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 Timo, why you want to fish shobora? Your mercy, your goodness, in my finger, and I feel it. Oh, I see it. Gratitude, this is.
All right, welcome back. Let's move on to talking about 3 pillars of character. We're doing this. This is the very first episode. If you're just tuning in, you're very much welcome. This is Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome and family radio. And the show is Character Matters for Nation Building. I am Toyin Ogedengbe, your guide from Nurture Nest. All right, so pillars of character, because all that we're going to be doing by the grace of God on this program, we're going to be looking at character and how it forms who we are, our perception, our disposition in all our interactions, our day-to-day living, interactions in the family, interactions with people in the society, interactions, between the led and the leaders. We're going to be looking at various dimensions of interactions that if we can get it right and build wholesome characters, then we can be sure that we're on the path to building a great nation. So we're looking at moral character. As the moral character, it's important, have to do with your personal values, and how you get the personal values, of course, will be defined by your foundation. The foundation, of course, will have to do with the environment where you have been born and where you have been raised, what you have been taught. And in some regards, you see, people also pick the nature of the character by the virtue of what they see around them. And so that's why sometimes you see children, without having to be taught or without having to be told, they pick habits, they pick attitudes, they pick values by what we model around them. So this is very important as the first dimension of what we need to critically address when we're talking about character matters for nation building.
I saw it, everything in me. I said, show, yes. With everything in me, I said, show, yes. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faith.
Next will be performance character, and typically this will show in how we handle assignments, how we handle tasks, how we deal, in things that are committed, deal with things that are committed into our hands. And you want to talk about matters of diligence, matters of excellence, matters of resilience, matters of promptness, punctuality, So all of those you want to categorize under performance character. So we've said two already. The first, moral character, and the second, performance character.
Every time I look up, down, below, every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your faithfulness, is your faithfulness. Oh, I know. I still cannot fight.
It's still character matters for nation building. Civic character, that will be the third category that we want to consider as we trust the Lord to help us as we get on and go by on this program. Civic character, how you treat your community, how you relate in the society, matters that are of common interest, that bring you together with other members of your of the society. So you're talking about matters of respect for law, talking about matters of selfless service. We're talking about matters that have to do with patriotism. Yes, all of those, and of course many more, will categorize on the civic character. And of course, like I said, the program is not some kind of lecture. We're going to be doing this together. We'll be having sessions where you can call in You can give us and share your experiences, because we understand that it's important that we are not just talking about these as pillars that should be upheld. We also want to be able to showcase how these pillars of good character have been modeled over time, and the impact, the positive impact that they've had on the society, on individuals, on families. And we want to be able to push those to the fore so that we together collectively can, continue to foster such good character and also model such good character. Like I said, we'll imbibe them, and generations, across generations, were able to share our experiences. And of course, particularly for the up and coming the younger generation, they're able to learn from these pillars. Okay, so for the purpose of Character Matters for Nation Building, we're going to be focusing on these three pillars of character as we go on. And like I said, you have opportunity to be able to call in, to be able to share your views, to be able to share your experiences. Character Matters for Nation Building.
Adam, or comprehend this law you give. Tell me, where do I begin? Tell me, where do I begin? Look at my hands up. Kimake be cherubim. Tabi said I feel. Money low. Low, Timo, wayo. You are the more fisher, shopora. Ya mercy, ya goodness.
All right, well, welcome back. It's still Wells Radio 89.3 FM, and it's still Character Matters, your guide, Toyin Ogedengbe. Okay, so we've been talking about the three pillars, and we also want to be able to break this down for our Yoruba listening audience. Ohun tí a tún ti ń sọ lẹ́nu wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ yìí náà ni wípé a fẹ́ wo ìpele mẹ́ta tí a lè pín ìwà rere sí, nítorí pé wọ́n máa jẹ́ ohun tí a ó fi máa ṣe àkọ́rò fún ohun tí a ó máa sọ, tí a ó máa pérò, tí a ó máa sọ. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí adẹ̀ ti sọ náà, ètò yìí kò ń ṣe ètò tí a gbé kalẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bíi pé olùkọ́ àti àwọn ọmọ ilé ẹ̀kọ́, bí kò ṣe wípé ohun tí a ó jọ máa fi omi tómijọrẹ ọ̀rọ̀ ní, tí a ó fi jọ máa bára wa sọ̀rọ̀, a ó máa rán ara wa létí àwọn ohun yìí. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn a mọ̀ wọ́n, ṣùgbọ́n bóyá a ti gbé wọn sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan, bóyá a ti gbàgbé, a ní láti máa rán ara wa létí fún ìgbélékè àlàáfíà àti ìlọsíwájú ẹbí, ìgbélékè àlàáfíà oníkálukú wa, ìgbélékè àlàáfíà àwùjọ, àti pápánbárì ìgbélékè àti àlàáfíà orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. Àwa sọ nípa ìpele tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn ohun tí a gbàgbọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìwà tó dára, ìṣòótọ́, ìwà ìrẹ̀lẹ̀, irú àwọn ìwà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tí a fi ń ṣẹ̀ṣọ́, tí a ní láti máa fi kọ́ ara wa ní gbogbo ìpele, láti inú ẹbí ni o, títí dé ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ni o, fún àwọn ọmọ wa, ní àwùjọ ni, lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ ni, ní ìdí ọjà wa ni, nídìí òwò wa ni. A tún wá sọ àwọn èyí tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ojúṣe èyí tí a gbé kalẹ̀ nípa ohun tí a ń ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí ènìyàn, nípa bóyá iṣẹ́ tán gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ ni, báwo la ti ń ṣe, ǹjẹ́ à ń ṣe tí à ń fi taratara ṣe, tí à ń fi tọkàntọkàn ṣe, ǹjẹ́ à ń ṣe ní ọ̀nà tó pé, ọ̀nà tó dára. A tún wá wo ìpele kẹta tí a pè ní civic character, èyí tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú àwùjọ wa, ojúṣe wa sí orílẹ̀-èdè wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ènìyàn, ohun tí à ń sọ yìí bí a bá ti wò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ojúṣe àwọn ohun tó yẹ ká máa ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìwà tó tọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìwà tó dára ohun tí ó yẹ ká mú lọ́kùnkúndùn ká fi máa ṣèwàwù tí a ó tún fi máa kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa ó ní àwọn ìpele mẹ́ta gẹ́gẹ́ bí adẹ̀ṣí ṣe sọ a ó máa jọ máa ṣe àṣàrò náà ni a ó máa retí kẹ́yìn náà kẹ́ ẹ máa bá wa dá sí ètò yìí ẹ máa bá wa kálọ.
My finger and I feel it. Oh, I see it. Gratitude is it. I saw it, everything in me. I said, show, Jesus, Jesus. With everything in me, I said, show, Jesus, Jesus. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. And every time I look from up and...
All right, you're welcome back. So in building a healthy, great nation, why is this really important? Why is it important that we're talking about character matters? Why is it very important for us? It is important for us. I would like to first start with this quote by Abraham Lincoln. It says, character is like a tree and reputation like its shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. And meanwhile, the tree is the real thing. Think about it. Character is like a tree and reputation like its shadow. The shadow is what we think of it a lot of times. And meanwhile, the tree is the real thing. So if we're talking about nation building, like I had mentioned earlier, it begins with you and it begins with me. It begins with who we are in the family setting. It begins with who we are, especially when no one is watching. So we're talking about the issues of trust. Without character, there's no trust. Without trust, business and government cannot function. Families cannot function. Relationships cannot function. And we know that whatever we see around us, whatever we make of people in the society, as leaders, people in various sectors who are involved in matters that have to shape the policies, we need to understand that character is critical. It's critical. And whoever you see a person has become is because of the values that they've held from when they were growing up. And it's important that we begin to speak to these values again, just like we had outlined in the 3 pillars that we trust to be the core of the focus of this program. Looking at stability, the policies and the laws would only work if the citizens have the character to follow. So many times we talk about the fact that, we have so many laws, but when it comes to implementation, and, I'm going to have to say this over and over again, that the program is not coming from the angle of some perfect beings who are coming to show off, to say, they know it all, or they do everything right. But we're coming to remind ourselves, to get ourselves back on track, to say that if we must see the kind of society that we are dreaming of, then we must get back to speaking to those things that matter. And indeed, character comes tops when it comes to building a great nation. So you're talking about issues of legacy. What kind of legacy are we passing on, are we leaving for the younger generation? Skills can get a person to the top, like we say, but only character can keep them. So we want to begin to emphasize on the place of, yes, a person may have actually been born in some kind of environment where they've not even been exposed to proper trainings or tutelage that help them to show forward or imbibe good character. But we'll be looking at the place of nurture. How do we help in the various, settings and spheres of influences where we find ourselves? So we're looking at this for nation building. And say, if you look at it, corruption didn't start with government. It starts right from the home setting, from the family setting. We'll be looking at the various aspects. I don't want to go ahead of myself, but today what we're doing is to build a foundation to help you understand the focus of this program, Character Matters for Nation Building.
Middle. Every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. And this your faithfulness show, yes. Yes. With everything in me, I say show, yes. Yes, cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. Your faithfulness.
All right, you're welcome back. Gone are those days where the call radio, Roas or Magbisi. Things have changed, and thanks to technology. Okay, so we're doing this together. If you'd be willing to participate, share a thought, on this program, this is the time, this is the segment, and you may please call the studio lines on 0916 893 1000, 0915 3334, that's 334 893, or 0911 3333 893 if you'd like to be part of the conversation. Thank you.
Look, will I fathom or comprehend this lie you give? Tell me, where do I begin? Oh, hey, look at my hands up. Kimake be cherubim. Tabi seraphim. Lord, Lord, Timo, Wayo, you want him fisher, Shobora. Your mercy, your goodness, Nima.
You're welcome back. It's still Character Matters for Nation Building, and you're still on to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome and family radio. So today is the very first episode. If you're just tuning in, you're right on time. I'm your guide, Toyin Ogedengbe, and what we're doing today is to set the tone to help us understand the focus and the purpose of this program. It's not just any program, but it's a program that's also going to be speaking to every aspect of our lives and living as individuals, as members of family, members of the community, society, and of course, our nation as a whole. And also, we will be interjecting with Yoruba language for the benefits of our Yoruba speaking audience. And so, if you like to be part of the show, we have a segment where you can call in. I just read out the studio lines, and of course, we having a segment that we call the call to action segment, like a take home, like some kind of assignment, where you and I will have to go back to think over all of the things that we have heard and to be able to map out some kind of action plan to say, oh, this is what I've learned this week. This is my take home this week, and this is what I'm going to be able to do with my take home this week. So at this time, we're looking at what really, think of one small right choice that you can make this week. Or maybe before you even go on to think about one small right choice, you need to understand, like I said earlier, that it comes with choices that we make on a daily basis. They become habits, and they eventually form the individuals that we become. So if you look at the kind of person that you have become over time, over the years, you realize that they have to do with decisions, the choices that you have made. Yes, like I mentioned also, we're not coming as individuals who've got it all together and everything's been fine. We also want to look at, where did we get it wrong? What did we do? What are those things that we've done and we know that these things have not helped us, have not helped our relationships? And of course, we'll be looking at aspects of, character as it relates to what the law actually says about some of them and how we need to begin to uphold, appropriate character. Like we said, when we were emphasizing, the various aspects, like we've said, the three core areas. I want to quickly run over them: the moral character, performance character, and civic character. We've just what you're going to be using the three broad areas for our interactions on the show.
I finger and I feel it. Oh, I see it. Gratitude to say. I saw it everything in me. I say, show, yes. With everything in me.
Wọ́n ní ohun ní ká jẹran lẹ́nu kó pẹ́, ṣùgbọ́n òun fà fún òjẹ́. A ti sọ àwọn nọ́mbà èyí tí a lè máa pè sí ní orí ètò yìí, tí a bá sì ní ẹnìkan àbí méjì tí wọ́n fẹ́ bá wa jẹ́ alábàápín nínú ètò yìí lénìí. Àwọn nọ́mbà yẹn náà ní 0916 893 1000, 0915 3334 893, àbí 0911 3333 893. A ó sì máa fi àǹfààní sí a máa yà sọ́tọ̀ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ọ̀sẹ̀ nígbà tí a bá ti ń ṣe ètò yìí. Ẹ ó máa ní àǹfààní láti lè máa pè wá láago, láti lè máa fi ọkàn tí yín náà láti lè máa bá wa pín èròǹgbà yín, ohun tí ẹ rò nípa nǹkan tí a bá gbé kalẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ ọ̀sẹ̀. Ó ṣe pàtàkì. A ó sì máa ní ìpele èyí tí a pè ní call to action. Òun ni wípé ìpèníjà láti ṣe ohun tó tọ́, ìpèníjà. So a máa pera wa níjà pé ní ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí gan, kí ni ohun tí mo fẹ́ ṣe? A dẹ̀ ní wípé eléyìí ṣe pàtàkì fún wa láti máa ṣe ni pé nítorí pé a ó kọ́kọ́ ro àti ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀. Ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀ àwọn ohun wo la ti ṣe tá a rí pé ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó. Nítorí pé tá a bá wo ohun tí a pè ní wà yìí náà, àwọn ohun tí a kọ́, tí a mú, a kọ́ lára òbí ni, lára ọ̀rẹ́ ni, lára ẹbí ni, àbí láwùjọ. Àwọn wo la wá rí ibi tó ti bá wa dé tí a rí pé eléyìí, ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó. Kò yẹ kí a máa rí ní ara wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tó níwà rere. A ó wá wò ó, a ó pera wa níjà pé ní ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí o, ohun báyìí ni ìgbésẹ̀ tí n ó gbé. So eléyìí á jẹ́ tí a ó fi ṣe àṣekágbá ẹ̀ lénìí wípé bí a ti ń ṣe àṣekágbá ẹ̀ lénìí, ká lọ pẹ̀lú ohun kan tí a ti rò wípé a ní ìwà eléyìí kù díẹ̀ káàtó. Kí wá ní ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ kí n gbé láti rí pé mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣe ohun tó tọ́.
Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your faithfulness. Every time I look up down.
All right, it's been amazing walking this journey with you almost for 1 hour. We need to talk to ourselves as we wrap it up. We cannot complain about the future if we're careless about character today. We cannot pray for a better nation without becoming better people. It's been an amazing time having you spend this time with me. I truly appreciate it. Character Matters for Nation Building continues next week by the grace of God. I am your guide, Toyin Ogedengbe. Bye for now.
Every time I look from top down below, all I see